Hey everybody. Hello to all my friends out there in YouTube land. It's your good buddy Philtastic here saying hi. Welcome to the show. Saturdays are a little hectic, I feel like, lately. I think I was a bad YouTube supporter today. I did not watch Fanboy. I was in and out of Brian. I was doing a couple quick errands and just, that's what kind of happens. 11 o'clock is probably in retrospect a rough time to do a show because it's like I have so much to do. It's like, but I might be able to cram everything in. But let me see who's here. Well, I could say who's here. My beautiful wife is in the kitchen getting my coffee for me. Thank you, honey. Fun fact, I may or may not have just eaten French fries for breakfast. I still don't know. I was on the way back from the grocery store, wanted to pick up food for my wife, got her a nice egg and cheese sandwich, and I felt like getting waffles. And they said, "Oh, do you want sweet potato waffles?" I was like, "Sure." So then I opened up the package when we got home, and I'm pretty sure it was just French fries without seasoning. So we'll see how my stomach goes throughout the hour, and I'll let you know. But yeah, nice things to consider in your 40s. Let's say who's here. Let's see who's here. Evil, how are you, sir? Evil, by the way, had I have to compliment. I mean to reach out to Scotty as well. Had a very, very good appearance. It wasn't this past week. It was the Monday before on Scotty Vaughn's Monday night show. My little guy's here, by the way. I don't know if you just heard him crunching there. Yeah. What was I saying? Yeah, if you haven't seen that, go back and check because that was a really great appearance. Evil, I applaud you, sir. Wellbore, third live show today, and still nothing to do at work. Thank you, honey. Is that good? It could be good. Could be not good. We don't know. Zach is here. How are you, Zach? Just got the last of my coffee, and I'm ready for last week. I like that. That sounds like you're a go-getter. Manny, good afternoon. We're not quite there yet. Let's not speed things along. Fanboy, sorry I missed you this morning, sir. I got to catch the replay. People saying hi to each other. Let's see. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. It had some stuff this morning. Mr. Durs, how are you? I have your show, your positivity message from yesterday queued up. I have not watched it yet. Neil is here. Did I miss Neil? I guess I missed. Somebody said, "Hey, Neil." There he is. Hi, Neil. I see you, sir. Neil has a very good challenge up right now on his channel. He picked 10 of the worst comic book covers, and I might do that one. I don't know. That one's a little tough. I was trying to get off of the VRs because I realized I was doing VR after VR, and I was kind of like, okay, well, at what point does this just get not fun for everyone? Let's see. I think I skipped ahead too much. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Here we go. Let me go back now. Go the Wendy's route. French fries dipped in the Frosty. Yep, I've had that, and I'll be honest with you, not crazy about it. I like Frosties, but I don't know. I always feel like afterwards it's like this is a bad decision that I should have stopped making 15 years ago. But there you go. Yeah, YouTube doesn't own me, so I have to be off sometimes. Yeah, and look, I just had some errands to run, but I feel like there's a break coming soon. Yeah, even if it's just for like a week or so. Just have a lot of things going on right now, but we're balancing it well. And I can tell you, me voluntarily deciding to do a short for a day for 30 days does not help. But I'm almost halfway there. I'm committed to doing it just to really see if I can do it. Maybe I'll talk about that a little bit more, why at the end. I signed up my daughter for swimming lessons. I missed Cat's premiere and Fanboy Prime's lives. Oh, you know what? My son is still, as you can hear, a little too young to sign up for lessons for anything, but that's why I say, like, inevitably, I know that this is not going to be always a Saturday morning show. Just when as soon as he says, "Hey, I want to sign up for I don't know, soccer or whatever, we're gonna have to reschedule or do something else here." Then we used to anger them asking for vanilla frosty. Then they went and made them. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever. I think I had a vanilla frosty once, and it was just like this just tastes like nothing. But yeah, appreciate that. You will appreciate that, Trev. How are you, Trev? Trev, I'm still waiting on your freaking print. I sent an email last night. I have not heard back yet, and I still have to make something for you too. I'm almost there. I get paid but at a reduced rate. That stinks. I went ahead again. Here we go. Lucky, how are you? You should have a vacation and hand the show to Chad. First of all, let me tell you something. Our vacation budget covers us from the living room to the kitchen right now. Secondly, nobody wants Chad. You don't understand. Chad makes me cringe because I have to get into that that mindset, and it's not fun. Phil's Treehouse. I have to check out Phil's Treehouse. Let me tell you why. He's got some new show on Sunday nights. I believe it's Sunday night, Phil. Tell me if I'm wrong. Where it's like a trivia contest, and that sounds like a whole lot of fun. I need to watch them because I've kind of made it a point to disconnect myself from YouTube on Sundays. Now that there's exceptions to that. If somebody invited me on their show, like I was on Matt Woods' show, probably about a month or two ago at this point, I'll make an exception. But it's just like I need to pick one day out of the week. Yeah, buddy. One day out of the week to have a YouTube break. And right now it's Sunday. No rush, man. Life is busy. Waiting for David's show, and I don't think it happened. And then you didn't skip. I don't know what's going on there. Phil, what made you pick Scrolls to highlight? Do you just know a whole lot about them? Or, well, it's better if I read it here. Or do you pick something to research and share? Great question. A couple different reasons. One, I don't know a whole bunch about Scrolls, and I am learning more than I feel like any one person should. I kind of feel like with you guys, it's great. I share it to my IG, my YouTube. You look for it, I feel like some of the people like I'm connecting with on, I've connected to like on Facebook, like especially like some of my cousins and my older aunts are like, what the hell is this kid doing? He's 44 years old. Enough with this. But yeah, I like doing the research. Maybe I'm not the best at editing because I just do everything on my phone. I don't know. I am getting, I think, a little bit better at it. It's just a point where I'll also do something where I'll try to research the content for the whole week, and then I'll go back on one day and try to record it. Though this week has been, I'll record maybe 1 to 2 days in advance. That being said, I didn't do today's yet. I have to do that, and I'll be like, this just sounds boring. I need to rewrite it. So maybe I'm a bit of a perfectionist on that, or far from perfectionist, but we'll see. That's why the world loves Chad. The world doesn't love Chad. Sundays, 3 p.m. Central. Who's Sunday? Oh, here we go. Every Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern. Yes, I have to watch the replay. Let's see. Yeah, I still owe you a cardiac video. I started one and it wasn't good. And I was like, I have to come back to it and just haven't. Chop, how are you? Here you go, Chop. Here you go. And Brian is here. Hi, Brian. Yeah, I thought this was one of your passion characters, so you have pulled them off, Phil. Yeah, and you know what? I'm beginning to have like a newborn respect for the Skrulls. That's kind of like a byproduct of this. I have a good amount of Fantastic Four, but none of the early kind of Skrull appearances. I have the first appearance of Pybok, I know off the top of my head. I don't think I have the Human Torch wedding issues that I just discussed yesterday. I have to look that up. And then I know the Skrulls' involvement with the X-Men, at least from um, the John Byrne run and on. I amazingly kind of forgot about Cadre K when I started this whole thing, because that was one of my, that, to be honest with you, I remember when that whole series came out, when they were talking about, not the series, the storyline, the Apocalypse, what was it, The Chosen. I was kind of like out, but dabbling in comics. I remember I was in college, so it's harder to actually find a comic book store by my school, but one had just opened up in New Brunswick. They're not there anymore. I think it was called like Bomb Shelter Comics. And I remember wanting to get all the things because it sounded like a cool concept. You know, Wolverine, things going on with Wolverine that I'm talking about in a future video. And then they kind of threw the Skrulls in there. It was a little disjointed as far as an event goes. However, I thought that next issue afterwards, where they went into the future and showed Xavier returning back to Earth with Cadre K, was interesting. Kenneth, how are you? I thought you did. Oh, no, this is based off of Google. But I mean, I'll tell you, you do get some interesting comments. Like I had somebody, when I initially started talking about the types of Skrulls, they came back and said, "You forgot the diary rates." I'm like, dude, it's 60 seconds. I can't like go right back in and discuss. You know, you have to cut somewhere. And then I wound up just doing a separate video about the diary rates. So I think that worked out. I had one like lousy comment. We all get them on YouTube, through my Facebook, through somebody I didn't know. So supposedly my reels are getting out there somehow. I don't know, because I set my Facebook to closed or private or whatnot. And I regret that I didn't answer the guy back. I just deleted the comment and blocked it. He said something like, I thought I saw the dumbest video today, and then I watched this one. And it's like, whatever, dude. I should have replied something like, either, now you can imagine how I felt reading this comment, or I do plenty of super stuff. You should subscribe to the channel and check it out. Yeah. David, how are you? Well, David, you're just going to have to check the replay. That's just how it is. I will say this. There is going to be, I believe, a Skrull-related cooking video coming out. I'm going to try to time it closer to Secret Invasion. Actually, getting back to your question, Fanboy, because I went in another direction, because I do that. Part of it was I wanted to do 30 days of a particular short. I wanted to do 30 days with shorts, rather. And I know Secret Invasion's coming up on the 21st. I felt like this is a perfect time to do everything. See, Bizzle, how are you? Yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, well. Next time. So, no pickups this week. I have not been to my LCS in a while. A little scary. Now, they have my stuff aside, and I know that with everything going on with Marvel's books not being delivered due to the car accident, the truck accident, I don't have much to pick up. But I've also been really busy, too. Kind of the king of that. What, kind of forgetting and going somewhere else? I don't know. Yeah, so I know I don't have a whole lot on hand there. So I'm not overly worried. And I just messaged very light weeks. Yeah, I've been doing that a lot lately. And there's a method to my madness. There is something big going on. Not so much. I'll say why. There was a right now there's a local library doing what do you call it? They call them a bag sale. You know, you bring a bag and they say, oh, for $5, fill up a bag. There's one in the next town over going on right now. And I was said, you know, wow, I could hit this up first thing in the morning and they actually showed in the picture comics right on the table, and one of them was Godzilla #1. So I said, "Honey, look, this is like a $50 book right now. Get it for like $5 and then some." I was like, "Yeah, I prefer if you didn't." So I didn't go, and I'm here talking to you. But that was kind of good because then I would have just been all over the place this morning. I wouldn't have had any food. I do have a strategy when I do go buy comics. Like the Brattons did not have their comic book garage sale this year. That's Dave and Doug Bratton, Isolation fame, Reggie Collects fame. Dave actually has done some artwork for Isolation issue 4, from what I understand. If you don't know, go to Reggie Collects or SwoldierPublishing.com and take a look at that. Last year and the year before, I went to the comic book garage sale, hung out with Matt Woods the first year. That was a lot of fun too. Aaron from AA Comics. Before I went, I set the bar that, hey, look, I'm going to be going to this thing. And then I got up extra early, went to Trader Joe's, made sure I came back with chocolate, food, and flowers. And then I went. I do have a Godzilla #1. This was just going to be one to flip, to be honest with you. So it's not going to haunt me. It's just going to... Neil, oh, okay. This is going to be a big question. Just a question on your collection historian, so you could be involved in all this. Do you read the pickups or do they go straight? I read them. I make it a point to read everything I pick up. Bless you, buddy. The exception would be the older Uncannies I've been picking up because I'm trying to complete a run. I would go back and I store those, change the bag and boards, but I read them digitally. That I just don't want to mess them up too much. And that is something that's kind of like my pie in the sky goal that I sometimes work on, sometimes don't, is just getting a full run of Uncanny #1. Cup, how are you, Cuppy? Oh, I see what you meant with the scamming the scammers or going back to the scammers, but yeah. So anyway, yeah, I read everything minus the Flash and Graham and Junkyard. Let me tell you something, Junkyard Joe. I haven't gotten the final issue yet, but that was a great read. You're missing out. Sit down, read all of your Junkyard Joe back to back. I honestly think it might be my favorite series of this year. I really do. I'll give you guys a little inside baseball. I've been thinking about doing a series where I just talk about a particular run of books or a small series of books that are more independent. I mean, I'll use independent broadly. I'm saying Image Comics. I would throw Junkyard Joe under that too. And just telling you why that they're a great read. And again, this is something that would strictly be non-Marvel or non-DC. I just haven't done it yet. Just a lot going on. You'll get there. Just shut down for a week. You'll get there. Yeah, I can understand that. I definitely can. And look, I'll be honest with you, I just have some days where I get up and like, I don't feel like reading right now. I think I said last week, I started going through Sins of Sinister, for example. Wasn't thrilled with it, but I got to the point where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait until I pick up all of the parts, which I think they're all out now. I could be wrong. And just sit down and read them back to front to see if I just get a different appreciation for them. Because I've done that with a few series, and it does help. I have so much I want to read on it. Yeah. And that's the thing, too. You know, I'm sure many feel this way. Yeah, well, when I was younger, you didn't have responsibilities. You could just sit down and draw for 4 hours. You could read for hours and hours. And look, some of those old Uncannies, I'm talking like the Scott Lobel area, Fabian Niciez, it took hours to read a book. They had a lot of writing in that. That being said, sometimes I miss, if you pick up, like, I know Bendis has done it a couple times. Jeff Loeb did it a few times during the Hulk run, where you miss there's not so many words and you wind up finishing a book in 2 minutes. That kind of annoys me a bit. I feel like I'm not getting my dollar's worth, so to speak. But I did read a little bit this week. Not much, but a little bit. Comics by the Bay's not here, but I feel like if he was, he would appreciate this. So I did read. This is Sins of Sinister X-Men, and a Captain Marvel, because they're doing. I don't want to say a crossover because they did it something interesting way. So you got X-Men number 20, Captain Marvel number 47, and X-Men number 21. So, as you can see, the X-Men and Captain Marvel have, again, I don't want to say crossover, but there's stuff going on in both books regarding the Brood. Which, by the way, yes, if you put all those pieces together, it's a really interesting cover. I don't have all the pieces. That's my problem. I don't know how many parts there are, but the way that they kind of did it, because I had read the Captain Marvel stuff, the previous installment of Captain Marvel. I think it was actually, I thought it was an older issue, to be honest with you, where her and a select group of X-Men were fighting the Brood, and how that just basically started. Then I know that there was at least one issue of X-Men before this, because the older version of X-23 had to basically slice open Corsair's stomach and pull out a Brood. I'll say this. First of all, I know a lot of people have not gotten into the Krakoan Age of X-Men because like, oh, well, it's not what we want. It hasn't been great. I disagree for a good portion, not for everything. That's my opinion, of course. But I'll say this. X-Men have not been a great book in a really long time. This kind of harkens back into when I started reading comics in the 90s. It's just got that kind of feel to it, but in a good way. Let me see here. And maybe it's because I could remember, like, one of the first X-Men books I remember reading was the X-Men had crossed over with Ghost Rider for, I think, about 2 or 3 issues, and they were fighting the Brood, which, in retrospect, the Brood Ghost Rider was kind of strange. But, I mean, really, that's like the most 90s thing you could think of. David, if you want, I could recommend some stories to you that may refute that. I feel like it wasn't Brubaker's run, but where Hope was introduced, I thought was a very good run. And I think New X-Men was great. Trying to think if there's any others off the top of my head I could really recommend. Yeah, I mean, as a kid, you good, buddy? Oh, he's getting tired, I think. As a kid, Fatal Attractions was great to me, as was Age of Apocalypse. But here's the thing. Think about this, Evil. Having read Sinister and having read Age of Apocalypse, I think, for me at least, a good portion of of what made Age of Apocalypse great at the time was the fact. How do you want to give him some water, maybe? You good, buddy? Okay. Was the fact that, at the time, you're talking the early days of the internet. The retailers were going by previews, so nobody knew that the Age of Apocalypse was ending, at least until the 3rd issues of all those limited series. And as good as Age of Apocalypse was, it wasn't perfect. I remember Excalibur not being a particularly strong title. There was another one, X Universe, that was just okay. That was supposed to deal with the non-X-Men characters in the Marvel Universe during the Age of Apocalypse. And to be honest with you, when they returned, I felt like some of them did lose a lot of steam. X-Man was hot for a while. It was a great character. Then I felt like after he actually met Cable and Exodus, which great byproduct of the 90s, I feel like he's finally getting his time to shine now. I felt like the X-Man title kind of fell off. Yeah, Gambit and the Externals was a little weak too. from what I remember. But there we go. Biggie Shack, how are you? Happy to have you. But look, if you're a fan of the 90s X-Men, this Captain Marvel X-Men run is what you want to get into. I shouldn't even say run, just a story arc. I think it covers, I'm going to say 6 issues. You know, you could probably read them all digitally right now at this point. You good, buddy? That's a happy screen. Yeah, because this one came out in April. Hey, pal. So if you subscribe to the Marvel Unlimited service, I believe you should be able to read all the parts now. He does this once a day, and of course, today he chooses to do it while we're streaming. But that is what I read this week, and I recommend that. There's an interesting twist that pops up in X-Men 20, where you find out exactly what's going on. Almost. But yeah, I'll say this too. Good twist, little clunky kind of premise. And I did have an issue in general with the with some of the dialogue with those characters. I'll say this, and this isn't giving a spoiler. Cyclops takes an interesting stance where I don't think it puts him at odds with Jean, where he basically takes the stance of, well, you know, we've got to go ahead and just kill all the Brood. And people call him out on it, like, are you kind of serious? Because you're talking about really genocide at that point. But I concur. You know, we should really do. Everybody just gave me an idea. I think I might do a video in the future, maybe a short or a few, about some of the characters from the Age of Apocalypse who made it over to the X-Men universe or the main universe, and where are they now? I think that they're all either out of commission or dead or missing or whatnot. But I don't know, just talking out loud. You guys gave me an interesting idea. Well, David, you're going to have to read the comic because you kind of find that there's a little bit of shenanigans going on that's kind of causing all the trouble. And you know, I'll say this too: if you're a fan of Jason Aaron's Wolverine in the X-Men run, this gives him a good amount of service too, because you have Brood, the mutant Brood, who was one of the highlights of that run, and that wasn't a great run, but Brood was a good character. He's one of the highlights. Somebody mentioned E for Extinction. I did like that one. Speaking from a Labs Comics fan, I really enjoy. Yeah, and you know, like the issue I run into with that is just that, you know, you put it out and then it changes. You know, there's actually another X character from the early 2000s, from the Extreme X-Men. There's 3 of them actually, but two I pretty much think have popped up, but one has been missing since. That I think these are the only mutants that have not appeared on Krakoa. So that's what I'm interested in. Yeah, you know what? I'm interested because that's something I've been thinking about. One of the things I really loved about the early Krakoan age X-Men is everybody had a time to shine. You had Doug Ramsey, Cypher, I think, yeah, and you know, being basically the only way Krakoa can communicate. Pal. And Warlock was feeling a little slighted at one point, but I remember there's a great issue of New Mutants. My favorite issue of it, I don't know what the issue is, where you see kind of like the New Mutants, basically they're tasked with kind of training the next generation. And they're talking about teamwork and, you know, talking about things since going past the Fastball Special. And at one point, it's not Warpath, his brother, I can't remember his name, from X-Force, the Native American character, basically teams up with Warlock to make, the only thing I could describe it as is like if you've seen the Alien films, that big thing that Ripley was in. Warlock basically turns into something like that, and I was like, that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Is X-Men still a thing? He was in the early run of New Mutants, and then that's been it. They're always a thing. Sometimes even things within things. I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, speaking of which, because I talked about a lot how I liked this X-Men and Captain Marvel kind of run because it is reminiscent of some of the comics I liked from the 90s. And this is something we kind of mentioned before. There is, and this is kind of the main topic I teased, I feel like there is a tendency to I've seen really more so with Marvel. Trying to think back to DC. DC's been out of my polls now for I think almost a year. Whenever Tanyon's run with, I'm doing something while we're doing this, so excuse my side of my face. But trying to think. Yeah, I can't think of it if DC was doing this at some point where you're talking where Marvel's really kind of been dipping back with nostalgia and creating these 5-issue limited series that are like, okay, well, this takes place at this specific moment in time. You saw it with Gambit recently. I think Bishop War College is kind of like that. I haven't read it yet. I'm waiting to stack that up. They've done it with the X-Men series now since Secret War. You've had like X-Men 97, different volumes coming in and out. Oh, I'm not looking at that. Needs to more. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, Evil. I kind of hit the wall with Batman, where it was like I had been reading Batman since I got back into comics. So really, like for 20 years, and I stopped after Tynan's run because I was like, you know what? I notice a pattern. Writer comes in, Batman's got a great assortment of villains, but you see pretty much the same grouping of villains every single time. If you're lucky, you get like a Snyder who comes in and introduces a new element that sticks, like the Court of Owls, and they all try to introduce new elements. I think Tynan especially, and some of them stick and some of them don't. And whatever happens, it's always just going to reset. Really what kind of was the big kind of kick to me was Tom King's run. Whether you like it or not, see, what I liked about King's run is what I like about the Krakoan Age of X-Men. They're trying. So many of these characters, they try not to do too much with, or like, oh, you got to clean everything up at the end. And to me, when you don't take a risk with the character, they just sit there. There are some characters I feel like who have evolved as I've gotten older as well. Wolverine, I feel like, has evolved for the better, and I know that some people don't care for it. I will say this. Ben Percy is doing great work on both Wolverine and X-Force right now, and I can't recommend them more than enough. Big Ishak, I've heard that. I don't know if you heard my little guy sort of burp. I've heard that. I've been meaning to check it out. I think I just have to read. I've been meaning to read it online, to be honest with you. I just haven't got around to it. I think so too. I've just been waiting for it to stack. Boom. Every time I get out of comics, it's for that reason, Phil. Nothing matters, so all gets reset. And yeah, look, in the main kind of frame of things, yeah, I mean, these are stories. They don't really, matter. Like the little kid screaming his head off right now is what matters. But it's kind of like I would like a nod to things that happened in the past. DC, I kind of feel like, even outside of Batman, like I could say like the regular Superman titles, I kind of feel like got way from that. To be honest, I'll say this though, I have not read Superman regularly since not James Robinson's run. I think Straczynski. I think maybe since Convergence, actually. But I feel like there's not too much of a nod to prior things, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, do you remember this that happened like 30 years ago? So, and Batman I had to get away with because at some point I was like, he's one of those characters that I felt like DC was afraid to take a risk with, and King's run was proof of that. He was 3/4 of the way done with telling his story, and DC's like, we're just going to pull you off because people are complaining too much, sales are down. Meanwhile, I mean, Batman is, I think, like over 60% of the DC line, or at least it was when I stopped. I don't know if it's calmed down a little bit. For a while, I was reading what in my pulls, the Corinthians series. I know that just came back. I haven't jumped back into it yet. I have been meaning, I'll say this, to sign up for DC's online service. I just haven't gotten to it. We have a lot going on. We have an announcement that's coming at some point. But in addition to that, and I know Fanboy can attest to this, I'm studying for our state insurance licensing exams for work, and that is a lot tougher than I anticipated. But I've been doing that late at night. It's a little bit slower than I would have wanted to do, but that's all. Yeah, so that's taking up a fair amount of time. There's also a good reason you haven't seen me do any episodes of 7-minute stories during the week. I wanted to get back to that, but if I do it at this point, it's going to be that much later in the evening. But we'll see. I am supposed to be on a show in a couple weeks at night. I'm not going to plug it yet because I don't know if it's still on. I have to reach out to that party. But anyway, my whole point of bringing up these 90s nostalgias, and I'll say this, Marvel has gotten kind of like very good at making them not seem like a throwaway, or making them seem like they're well kind of steeped in the story. Like Wolverine's last series with Larry Hama felt like it was right from that era. And Larry Hama is my favorite Wolverine writer. I was all on board with that. I know that they had that X-Men Classic series for a while, and that felt like it was very niche, but that's when I kind of started feeling like, all right, this might be a money grab. I don't need 3 issues on Adam X, that type of thing. But that's where you as a consumer, or we as consumers, I could say, can decide, hey, I'm going to get this, this, and this. I thought I saw more than that. DC has changed a lot. I think currently only 2 main and 2 Bat Family ongoing. Yeah, and look, again, I think I was just kind of burnt out on the character, and that happens. That happens often. Sometimes I get away from a character and I wind up coming back. Daredevil's a character I read heavily up until I think I jumped off regularly after Secret War, and then I tried to get him back into him during the Charles Soule run, and just it wasn't clicking for me. But that's an example. Honestly, the only character I have kind of stuck with, just character-wise, good, bad, or indifferent, has been Wolverine, and that's just my thing. Have a good weekend, everybody. Thank you. Appreciate that, Zach. Zach's Collectibles, everybody. So really, I've kind of decided to make it a point to avoid avoid some of these just 90s nostalgic things. If anything, my polls have been more and more focused lately. There are things outside of my polls I'll pick up every now and then. For example, Catwoman. Catwoman's a character I like a lot. I hate the series right now, but they have such great covers every now and then, and that's kind of like the one cover buy I let myself kind of go into. I shouldn't say the one cover buy because I am collecting the Phil Noto Immortal X-Men covers. I love the Immortal X-Men series, though. And guess what? I'll still read the Catwoman book anyway. But, I think that just kind of comes with maturity. And I think that comes with me even kind of slimming down my collection a bit. Look, in the past 2 months, I've given away a fair amount of comics and intend to do some more. Focus is switched to all other. Oh, okay, I see. I'm about to ready. Gotcha. I'm about to read, I guess, Superman 2 and Green Lantern. Green Lantern was another character I went hard with during the Jeff Johns run. And then when Jeff Johns was over, I was like, all right, I'm getting off of this.
I say you love the movie.
I hate the movie. And honestly, at that time when I say I was going hard with Green Lantern, I was getting Green Lantern Corpse, Red Lantern, Larsa Freeze. I think they had White Lantern at one time. That might have been, no, he was just popping up in a couple stories. I was getting all of them, and I was like, all right, I'm pulling back. But comics were also a little bit cheaper. Yeah, that was a while back. Evil, for me, the best thing current at Marvel has been the Daredevil and Punisher run. Besides that, my mind always goes back to Beta Ray Bill. Oh, this would be good, but nothing neat, nothing major. Really, if you have online access, Mike, I mean, I think that's the best thing to do. Again, I can't recommend the Wolverine and X-Force series, any more higher. Ben Percy knows what he's doing. To be honest with you, and I kind of said this a few weeks ago, I think from what I read of Sins of Sinister, I think Ben Percy did his own kind of Sins of Sinister with the Beast better than the Sins of Sinister have been done, at least from what I've read so far. I'm trying to think anything other on Marvel. She-Hulk I've been liking a lot, but it's not, it's a lighter book. I'll say that. And I know it's not going to be for everybody. No back yet. Okay. So I'm trying to say, you know what? Give me a second. Because I was in a bad mood this morning, but maybe a giveaway will cheer me up if I remember how to do it. Giveaway. Let's see. Where are you? Sorry, give me a second. Let's see. Last time I did this, I just kind of stumbled on it. Okay. So that's what we're going to do. Do hashtag, let's see. Do hashtag Brood. I have it going on my separate screen here. Again, that's hashtag Brood for a chance to just win some comics. I'll give everybody a few minutes to do that. I don't see any entries yet. Let's see. Harley is trying to be Robin. Yeah. See, the problem I have with Harley is I feel like she's Deadpool with boobs. That's the thing. And I feel like Deadpool is basically just Bugs Bunny, to be honest with you. That's just how it is. Where do you think I should? And I'll say this. I love Damian Wayne. I really do. One of my favorite characters. I think he's one of the best things that have been introduced into Batman in a long time. Okay, we've got 6 entries, 8 people watching. So we're going to have a few minutes for the last 2 to make their way in. Again, hashtag Brood. And Brian, your book your books should be arriving today. I had sent Brian 2 weeks ago. I had the thing for I had the giveaway for Evil Mike's brother. Anybody who donated to the GoFundMe. Brian won it. I had some difficulties last week, as I talked about, but I had forgotten to send Brian's books out, so I just did that yesterday. So Brian, hopefully you get those. I include a little bit more extra in there. 7, so we're waiting on one more person. Is it me? No, I'm not watching. I don't think I count as my own watcher. It's not you, honey.
No, I don't have a YouTube account.
You should get one so you can subscribe. I just pick a character. These are really good. Okay, I'm gonna give 30 more seconds. So if you're that person number 8, what are you doing? Oh, there's a 9th person jumped in now. Okay, a lot of characters just start new runs. Okay, good. Yeah, I'm just happy that you guys hit the goal, and I hope that your brother's doing good. All right. Okay. That means it's time to run the drawing. Okay. So I'm gonna run the drawing. Who do you think's gonna win, honey?
No idea.
Because you're not watching. Okay, it's spinning. It's spinning. Oh, good. Oh yeah, Lucky. I forgot. Yes, that's him. Okay. Cup. You win, sir. I know I have your details somewhere, but send them to me again if you don't mind. I'm gonna be honest with you. The giveaway books are downstairs, so I don't feel like going up and getting. You know what? How about this, honey? You want to entertain people? I'm gonna grab some stuff.
I don't know how to entertain.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Is Cup on here? Okay, good. Cup is here. Cup. Do you want floppies or do you want a trade paperback? Let's see what he says. And remember to, again, I know I have it, but just DM me your address and information. Okay, floppies or a trade, sir? Let's go with a trade. Okay. I'll be right back. Wait here. And my wife's going to talk in the meantime. So
Yeah, okay.
Just start talking. Go.
Uh-huh.
Everything about comics. Go.
Okay, yeah.
Come on. People are just seeing our living room here.
You're funny.
I'm serious. Start talking.
I don't know enough about comics to talk about.
Just tell everybody you know.
Yeah.
Talk about Catwoman. You love that movie. Keep talking. You didn't say nothing?
No.
Ah.
I was playing with the bait.
All right. I'm back. So, let me see. What did I miss? So Mrs. Tastic will talk to us with no fear. She could talk all she wants. She doesn't want to. Okay, so what I did, Cup. Buddy, give me another minute. So what I did, I gave you a trade, but I just threw in some floppies too. No, I did, buddy. It's fine. Your trade is going to be Captain Carrot and the final arc. Once upon a time, Captain Carrot, Cottontail Colossus assembled a titanic team of Fur and Fury. The zoo crew became legendary defenders of the timid and the world renowned for their heroism, and then it ended until the death of one of the animals. That's a lot of description. And And I threw in a couple floppies for you. Wonder Woman meets the Bionic Woman, #1. I'll show you this one next. Alpha Flight #21. This is a beater copy. I'm not going to lie to you. And last but not least, we talked about 90s nostalgia. Again, this is a beater copy. If you haven't read this, go ahead and try. Jocelyn and Stroman's Tribe. So those will be on its way to your cup. You just, yeah, buddy, it's about that time. I hear you. Just go ahead and DM me your address. I'll get that sent out. I promise, very quickly. But that is all I have for you today. Enjoy the rest of your day. I appreciate you giving me some of your weekend. I really do. Appreciate, again, I just said that. But enjoy the rest of your day, your weekend, your week, your whatever. I will have more shorts and more videos for you. Peace, love, and comics.